Hello, listeners. This is Aparna, and you're listening to the CHRO Mindset Podcast.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the season 3 of the CHRO Mindset Podcast. Following an amazing first 2 seasons, we are returning with even more engaging discussions and practical takeaways. Today, we have Aparna Chetan, who has joined us on the CHRO Mindset Podcast. Aparna isn't just a CHRO, she's the kind of HR leaders who redefines how organizations thrive through people. With over 24 years dedicated to building people and culture, Aparna's journey spans strategic roles across industries, including tech, consulting, and delivery, where she has consistently shaped human capital into a competitive advantage. An XLRI alumnus and recognized amongst the top 100 HR leaders in India, she blends hands on leadership with strategic vision. Her talent lies in architecting HR functions from talent marshalling to performance frameworks that elevate both capability and culture. As CHRO at Tony Harris Integration Solutions, Aparna has driven transformational initiatives, scaling global teams, implementing future ready HR systems, and embedding inclusive, high performance culture. Through her approach, she ensures HR never loses its human touch, even when the stakes are high. Beyond her executive role, Aparna is a passionate mentor, speaker, and influencer, regularly contributing thought leadership on organizational well being and workplace evolution. A true believer in HR's power, she sees it not as policy execution, but as the art and science of enabling people and purpose to flourish. Aparna, we are thrilled to have you here on the CHRO Mindset Podcast. Warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Pulkit. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, let me first summarize a little bit about what today's episode is going to look like for our listeners. To all our listeners, in today's episode, we'll explore what it truly means for CHROs to think like business leaders and speak the language of the CFO. We begin with the turning point where many HR leaders realize that storytelling alone isn't enough. Commercial fluency is non negotiable. From there, we'll unpack how HRs can build business acumen without a formal finance background and how talent decisions directly influence core business levers like revenue, margin, and cost. We'll also dive into specific examples where HR actions measurably impacted business outcomes and break down what metrics like CAC, which is CAC, LTV, and EBITDA mean in the HR context. The conversation also navigates the delicate balance between empathy and economics and how to make people decisions that are both humane and financially sound. In the rapid fire round that we are going to have, we'll surface blind spots, bust overused KPIs, and pinpoint the one financial concept every HR leader must grasp. So, without further ado, let's get started with an icebreaker question. So, Aparna, first question for you. When did you first realize that HR needed to speak the language of the CFO?
I think that's a fantastic question, Pulkit. And when I think back, I think I started my journey when I was, I think not somebody who was just fresh out of college or something, right? So I started my journey. I mean, after my child was born. So it's very different. You're already, you're not the young 21, 22, but I was closer to 30 when I started my journey.
Okay.
And then when I got into HR, that's when, or rather, I got into recruitment first, right? And that's where you realize what is the money that you're bringing into the company you're working for, right? What's the cost vis-a-vis what's the revenue you're bringing in? I think that's my first understanding of what it means to have that financial acumen. Let me use that word. Not that you need to know it very well, but for the amount of time, the amount of effort that you're putting in, what's your ROI, right? And if it's not coming, how do you navigate to ensure that it's bringing in the business that you need to bring in? So that was my first understanding. Did I have it completely? Definitely not. I think I learned it over the years.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's an amazing story. I wish we could get more into how it all started, where did it land, the challenges and all of that. But let me straight away get into the next question, right? So, uh, not everyone has an MBA degree, or even a degree with finance, right? Could be bachelor's in commerce or whatever, or accounting. But so how can HR leaders develop commercial acumen without having all those degrees or qualifications or courses that they've gone through?
I don't know what the rest of the folks would do, but here is what I have done. I've also, apart from just being a HR, I've also played a business role. What I mean by that, Pulkit, is I ran my own consulting firm,
Okay.
right? Worked for 13 years in the corporate, then jumped into starting my own consulting firm. And that's where you realize what is the revenue you're bringing in, where is the money going out. So, which basically means your credit and debit balance,
Mm.
right? After that, end of the year, how EBITDA are you? Are you profitable or are you in the negative? And
Mm.
where is the money going,
Mm.
right? And when you file your own taxes, there's
Mm.
nobody else who's doing it but you, as a, be it your entrepreneur, be it the person who's running the business. You need to see where the money is going, where is it gone, and how can you do better the next year,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So it all started from there. But
Mm.
then what I've realized is I think I've always had a fantastic rapport with finance folks.
Okay.
I think I get along very well with them. I think that's one way of understanding their terminology,
Mm.
their language.
Mm.
It just helps HR to blend better.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so
you know because not that you need to understand what they know it best,
hmm,
but even you start understanding the basics of finance,
hmm,
it'll help you speak the same language when you're coming out with strategies in an organization.
hmm,
How does it impact both your top line and your bottom line,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
Apart from all of it, can HR understand how is the organization making their revenue?
hmm,
Where is the money coming from?
hmm, hmm,
If you can understand that bit,
hmm,
trust me, we will all be much better off.
hmm, hmm,
And one, running my own consulting firm helped that. And of course, I had some best HR folks as both mentors, people that I could reach out to understand how can I do this better,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
And then I also played a business role
hmm.
in a geriatric organization where I ran the business unit.
Okay, interesting.
So when you're running that business unit, you need to see where the money is going and how are you going to get it back. That's where I think I got a better business acumen, financial acumen, because I was running the P&L. It's as simple as that. When you're running a geriatric organization, you need to see where the money is coming from, right? You can't be
Hmm,
over exorbitant and charge.
hmm, 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 hmm.
So I have done
Understood.
research on the lab. If we have to sign up with a lab, say for example the Apollo Health or Metropolis, all of those. So I did research, okay,
Hmm,
where I have reached out to 10 different labs, got, say for example, just a CBC, complete blood test, right?
hmm,
Complete, then all of those different tests that we get done, I've actually done the research to see what is it the cost that's costing us, and where is my money going, and how much do I charge my customers or the clients that we have,
hmm,
and where is my margin coming out of. So I've done things like that that's helped me understand the business better. So for example, if the lab is saying to come home and do a blood test, I'm going to charge you 500, but as a organization you say, hey, what's the best discount I can get, right? And for a 500 that they would charge from a B2C, for a B2B, if they say I'm going to charge you 300, right? What is the cost that I can give my customer? So I can say 400.
hmm,
But, right,
hmm,
if so there is still 100 rupees, I will still say 500, but
hmm,
400 is what I'm paying my lab. I still make
hmm,
100 rupees profit.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
That's my first, actually doing the research and understanding. And it was interesting,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
For example, every diaper, what does it cost, an adult diaper?
Hmm.
right? If people have to buy it from you, where are you going to procure it? What is your rate vis-a-vis what is the rate that you're going to sell at?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Because you're getting it from a B2B, but you're doing a B2C retail.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, unless you get into that kind of nitty gritties, I don't think I would have understood business better.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it started from there, and I realized I love this. I
Hmm.
loved playing the P&L role,
Hmm. Hmm. Understood.
because one is your manpower cost, one is your operational cost, right? And what is it that's left after paying out, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Your branding, all of it put together.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what all it takes, to get the revenue into the organization.
Interesting. And I am now thinking, right, in hindsight, we couldn't have had a better person than you to really talk on a topic like this, because you've done all of this, right? Then yeah, I mean, you would know the A to Z of needs to know, right? I remember I had one more session with an awesome HR leader from Metro Brands, right? She also had led a business unit in her previous roles, and it was a little bit on the same lines, right? So I could draw sort of parallels between what you were saying and what she was trying to say. But awesome, great perspective there. Let's now get a little deep into what you just said, right? So, in what ways can HR directly influence revenue, margin, or cost in the business?
So, Pulkit, I think what HR can do is, even to influence revenue and margins, right? You need to look at first is your people, your talent acquisition, right?
Hmm.
Can you align that with growth strategies?
Hmm.
Improving productivity.
Hmm.
Then, if you can also go back and tell them what is it between a buying talent from outside vis-a-vis building talent from inside,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Once you kind of bring in that kind of an analysis, I
Hmm.
think that helps.
Hmm.
And how can controlling costs with efficient workforce planning?
Okay.
For example, if you have an attrition, why are we even having an attrition? Is it easy to let somebody go?
Hmm.
Vis-a-vis, what's the cost of hiring that I have to do?
Hmm.
What we've realized is it's all right to retain somebody if they're good, especially even if they are, they don't have to be necessarily a high performer,
Hmm.
but even if they are average, meet your expectations, right? Like that we typically talk the language.
Hmm.
It's still worthwhile to have them.
Hmm.
If they're looking for compensation, that's the easiest thing to do.
Hmm.
What more? Max what? 4 5 lakhs that you're going to give him, or a 20 30% more than what his current is?
Hmm.
Because getting somebody from outside is going to cost me 300 times more.
Hmm.
The time, the effort,
Hmm.
the cost of interviewing, right?
Hmm.
The number of candidates,
Hmm.
the number of people, the number
Hmm.
of hours.
Hmm.
Plus, then you wait for 90 days or the 60 days, whatever is the notice period.
Hmm.
If I look at all of that, I would rather retain,
Hmm. Hmm.
because my business is not lost because a person has left.
Hmm. Hmm. Understood.
If you're
Yeah.
able to talk that kind of language, you understand your business better.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how HR can influence business levers. Again, can you have data? All of this only looks at data.
Hmm.
End of the day, you can talk to your business with the data that you come back with, not just talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
And data doesn't have to, you don't have to necessarily show it, on the Excel sheets. But even if you can lay it down, talk in the
Hmm.
line, it's like this kind of communication, right? They understand this better.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
end of the day, you're able to influence the minute you've built a relationship and a rapport with them.
Yeah.
If you have not built that, doesn't happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that is not something that happens overnight.
Hmm. Hmm.
It takes time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's an investment
Hmm.
HR should do.
Very profound. Uh, so you spoke of one example there, right? Building talent versus buying talent. Can you walk us through more examples of HR decisions that have had measurable business impact in your extensive experience of more than 2 decades?
Again, look at, so here is what, right? If you have something called early warning systems, what is that called? It's nothing but a HR connect with the
Hmm.
employees.
Hmm.
Can HR just listen to the employees that you have within your organizations?
Hmm.
Can there be a regular connects? While, if you look at it, it becomes like a KPI for your HR business partner.
Hmm. Hmm.
In a day, if they can have 4 employee connects, that will give you the pulse of the people.
Hmm.
4 in a day equals to 20 in a week,
Hmm.
equals to 40 in 2 weeks,
Hmm.
equals to 80 in a month,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? That 80 will also give you data of what the employees are feeling, what's the pulse. Are they happy? Not happy? What is it that they require? On the job, do they need a training? Is they happy with their managers? It gives you a whole lot of insights.
Hmm.
And at times, it's just that pulse that you get.
Hmm.
How do you translate that
Hmm.
to the business to help them make sure they don't lose talent? But again, there's only so much you can push.
Yeah. Yeah.
Retaining or not is a business call.
Hmm.
But can you help them with all of this? Yes. For example, there are
Hmm.
times when employees don't need money, they just need flexibility.
Hmm.
Maybe for the next 2 months, they want only complete work from home.
Hmm.
But to understand all of it, you should have had that connect, no?
Yeah.
That is what I hope I've given you the answer that you were
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
for.
yeah. And I think no no kind of employee engagement survey and all of those things can capture the depth of what we are discussing here.
Absolutely. And at times, that's why you don't have to talk to them only when they're leaving.
Yeah,
Or you don't have to say, hey, can we connect today? Once
yeah,
they start seeing that you're doing this regularly, they they have that trust and confidence saying, okay, I can talk to
right,
my HR.
right.
Now, not that it works 100%,
Yeah,
right? But even if it does a 70 or an 80%, we're good.
yeah, yeah. Excellent.
We could go wrong for the 20%, which is okay.
Hmm.
No one is, even with the data, you can't be right all the time.
Awesome. So it's more like prevention is better than cure. That kind of
Absolutely.
experience.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And it's an ongoing effort. It's
Yeah, yeah,
not just because, oh, I'm getting into the great place to work, hence let me connect to make sure my survey results are better.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
This is an ongoing KPI for the HR business partner.
yeah,
Not for them, not just for them. I think it happens to me as well.
yeah.
I know I ping my peers, right? Because they head different business units. I ping them every day saying, hey, how are you?
Uh, uh,
You know,
understood.
that's important.
Yeah. So unless that intent is there, it's not going to work out, right? I think that's
No, it
sort of.
won't. It
Okay.
won't.
Okay. Understood. Now, let's now talk about some of the terminologies that are regularly used by and I think you spoke of that. How do we speak the language, right? So if one is to
Correct.
speak the
Yes.
language of finance, they must know the key metrics as well, right? So, in your opinion, how should CHROs approach business metrics like CAC, LTV, or EBITDA?
I think it's important to understand that, right?
Hmm.
What does it mean? And how is it, say, for example, EBITDA? What
Hmm.
does it mean, right? And when does it apply? And
Hmm.
how do you incorporate into the HR strategies?
Hmm.
And how are you going to measure it and communicate the impact on the business performance.
Hmm. Hmm.
I still remember, I think when I started my career, and for at least till I started my own organization, I didn't understand EBITDA and all of it.
Hmm.
It's only once I started my own organization and then I was in the P&L role, I understood. So the first thing I normally ask is, what's the EBITDA that we have?
Okay. Okay.
Even if someone says a 10 or a 20% EBITDA that we have year on year, then you can go back and ask questions saying, if last year was 10%, what are we looking at this year? And what's our 3-year roadmap? Will 10% suffice? How did they arrive at that 10%? Was it cost cutting? Or was it better planning? Right? What did we do exactly to arrive at the 10%? And this year, if you're going to look at a 20 or a 30, what are some key business drivers that we need to have? And how do I translate that into HR strategies?
Hmm.
Be it in house sourcing, right? It starts from recruitment. Be it
Hmm.
in house sourcing.
Hmm.
Is my employee referral better vis-a-vis working with the vendor where the cost is higher? Who will help us translate culture better to a new person joining in? That's how you should be able to translate and understand the business drivers. And all of this, I think, finance only, I mean, anybody, right? Be it the finance or the CEO says, what's my ROI?
Hmm.
What's the return on investment that I have? And
Yeah.
if we in HR are able to articulate that in simple words, it works. Books
Yeah.
won't tell you. You need
Yeah.
to be a part of the business.
Awesome. And I love the process that you sort of called out here, right? Understand the meaning, learn how to apply it, incorporate into your daily workings, know how to measure it, and then most importantly, how do you communicate the impact, right? So, great framework there for people to know more. And I think that there is so much to learn, right? You have web, you have everything right at one's disposal to be able to know not just these three metrics but all the metrics that the CHROs and CFOs often talk about. So great perspective there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's how you will be able to relate to the CEO far better.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's all he'll understand, right? At times, they only look at numbers.
Yes, yes.
And typically, they say HR are not good at numbers.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But I think that's changing today. HR is getting better. We,
Yeah.
we only talk numbers today.
Yeah, great. I agree. And I think slowly and slowly they are not just getting, we often talk about, I have had discussions with CHROs where the first struggle is to get a seat in the boardroom, right? Then the other struggle is to have say in the boardroom, right? And then the last and the final thing is to have a point of view, right? And then point of view comes in
Yes.
only once you have some data backed thing to talk about, right? Because there cannot be an argument over data, right? What is
Correct.
what is five is
Absolutely.
five cannot be six, right? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
okay, wonderful. So now let's look at life, right? Not everything that a data shows might be the absolute truth, right? Because there are a lot of things at corporate within the corporate world, right, where numbers might not be a clear reflection of how things are shaping out, right? So in your perspective, please talk to us. What have you learned about balancing empathy and economics in people decisions, right? It could be like layoffs, or there could be multiple scenarios, right, that you would have come across.
So here's one example I can definitely think which is off my mind, right? And it's just there. I think most of the organizations, especially in the services, it's more in services, have something called a bench policy.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now, how do you look at a bench? Someone who's not been on a project bringing in revenue for the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, right? How can HR look at that kind of data, go back to the business and ask, instead of just taking, the Excel sheet which says, okay, this person has not been on a billing project for the last 3 months, right? And that's where we bring in empathy to the business, saying if someone has been only for the last 3 months, it could be because the project got over and he's waiting for the next project to come in. But at times, finance will only look at the numbers, right? They will not look into all of this. They'll only go back and say, these are the people for the last 3 months have been on the bench. If you're going according to a work order, then you pick up that work order and, key in your time sheets and stuff like that, right? But can HR that's where go? No, the project got over on this day. But even while the project is over, they're still overshadowing, or they are still working on a few things to make sure the transition is in place. That only if you have a conversation you will know. Otherwise you will not know that. That's where empathy comes into play.
Agree.
Right? And also, like I spoke about, the EVS Connect. That's empathy. Without being judgmental. Just listening. That only HR can bring in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, while AI is being overused, abused, okay, and overused as well is what I will call it. Everybody talks about AI. These are some things that can never go away. You and me having this conversation, you think an Aparna AI will talk? It can, but it'll have a straight face, right? And it won't give you the expressions that Aparna gives you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will not see a Pulkit smiling on the camera for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's only HR can bring in. And that is something. HR is not human resource. Apart from that, HR is being human, being resourceful,
Yeah.
being there for the people of the organization.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. It's a great perspective there. So while numbers matter, but at the end of the day, you are a chief people officer or a chief human
Yes.
resource officer, right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so the DNA should never change, right? I think it's immutable, as they say, right? Of course, numbers decide which direction to go, what decision to take. But at the end of the day, one must not feel, uh, like a bot, right? If you will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just to give an example, there was an employee who was not keeping well at a different country in the Middle East. He fell down. He was unconscious. Then we got to know there was a bleed in the brain.
Oh, oh,
He had the surgery. We brought him back. Now, very easy once he lands in Bangalore for him to go home, right? We are done. He comes back. We've made sure he's come back, family, everybody's here back in Bangalore. We can say, hey, we have done the job. But here is what we did extra. Someone from the organization went to pick them up at the airport, made sure they had flowers to be received, fruits, and there was a taxi waiting for them to take them home. That, for me, is the key. Everything else is secondary. You don't have to, not everybody needs to know, or even if the employee doesn't see it, it's all right. You're doing it because it's right by you. And that is the culture of India.
awesome. Yeah.
So these are some things that matter more.
Yeah, yeah. And these are the kind of stories that rarely get discussed anywhere, right? I mean, I'm actually, very moved by what you just narrated to me. That's, um, it just speaks volume of the kind of impact HR as a function has had, and many a times how underrated this function
Oh, yes, totally.
gets perceived, right? So it's a shame that that is how it is. But I think things are changing for the better, slowly and slowly. At least, even through all the initiatives that we are trying to take out here, the idea obviously is to uh, showcase the kind of impact that HRs have on the organizations. So again, thanks for sharing that story. Uh, now we are going to get into the rapid fire section, right? Which is um, going to consist of four questions, right? And if you would want to elaborate a little more on any one question, that is
Sure.
absolutely fine. Doesn't have to be a one word answer. So totally your call.
Okay.
So I'll start off with my first question. HR's biggest blind spot when it comes to business.
I think overlooking the direct link between talent strategies and financial performance.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. One financial concept every CHRO must master.
ROI, return on investment.
Okay. Interesting. People first or business first?
I would say with the people centric approach, keep the business.
Okay. Interesting. And the most overused HR KPI. This should be
Employee engagement score without context on impact.
okay. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. I wish I had more questions to ask in the rapid fire section because a lot of answers that you just gave were very interesting. Um, uh, this brings me to the last question of this super awesome conversation. Uh, do you think most CHROs today are truly ready to handle a PNL, right? And if I were to sort of go by the topic of today's podcast, it was the PNL ready CHRO. Are you one of them, right? So this is like a closing question we'd love to know your take on.
Absolutely. I think HR folks today are able to do that better compared to early. See, it started. HR, how did we even start, right? It started as a personnel, industry relations, personnel management, a PM, all of that, right? But today, when you look at it, you also have uh, HRs moving into the CEO role. How are they able to do it? It's only because they understand the business better. And understanding the business comes with people. So it starts from there. And today, if you look at it, some of them are HR folk who have played the HR role but moved to a business role. Yes, it's not something that if you haven't studied it all along, it'll come naturally. But if you have an inclination to learn, there are always ways and means to learn it. Yes, we are far better than where we used to be. We'll only get better.
It's been an amazing conversation, Aparna. And there is this, this is again more like a compliment. The kind of poise, the calmness that you bring in, right, when you deliver the answers to all the tough questions that I had was super interesting. I think it's only a calm mind that can, go through numbers, make sense out of it, right? So maybe that comes very naturally to you. But while I took my notes, right, like I always do. Uh, your journey began at 30 years. That was extremely interesting, and the fact that you ran businesses, you went into the P&L, looked at the EBITDA, you looked at what's coming in, the cash flow, what debit, credit, accounting, what all, right? So I think that obviously gave you an added advantage. But yes, in today's era, I don't think one cannot succeed without having to sort of go through the same kind of experience. It's always good to
Absolutely.
go through that experience, right? Even in marketing, right? They say that you should always try your hands at sales because then you get better at
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, interestingly, I've also done sales,
Okay.
right? When you run your own company, obviously you're
Yeah, yeah.
selling what you bring to the table. And also in the geriatric organization, I played the sales role.
Okay.
So I used to go meet with the doctors to help them understand why they should send their patients to us and what is it that we can offer.
Okay.
And trust me, if you can bring in revenue,
Yeah.
you're doing your job.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. I
and
do.
then you understand the minute you're bringing in revenue, you understand where it's going as well.
Very right. Very right. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, that also matters a lot, right? Because that pays for the salaries, that pays for everything, right?
Everything, right?
In a
It could,
capitalist world,
it's like
how
a
to,
small perk.
yeah.
When you are a startup, do you have an office? So that small office space.
Yeah.
Can you give coffee for people who come in to see you?
Yeah.
Small things,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Can you afford all of those? It starts from there.
Yes, and even the examples, right? That some of the practical examples, the cost of hiring versus letting go, or building talent versus buying talent. In a lot of use cases that you spoke of, were very practical. The uh, and that structure of looking at EBITDA, meaning, application, incorporation, measurement, communication. I think that was extremely fundamental. Yet most people don't talk about it, may not know it, right? So that was also amazing. And lastly, your take on empathy versus economics, right? So at the end of the day, the DNA shouldn't change. Of course, one has to
Yes,
have numbers as the compass, but as the captain
correct.
of the ship, one must realize that they are a CHRO or a chief people officer, right? So that should not change. It's been an amazing conversation. I'm so glad you took out time to speak with us, and
The pleasure is mine.
thank you so much. And I'm hoping that all the listeners out there, all the aspiring CHROs or current CHROs, who are wanting to become better at numbers, become P&L owners within the organization, not just have a say in the boardroom, but have a point of view in the boardroom, would have learned immensely from what you had to share today. So thanks once again. Thanks a lot for taking out time and joining us on the CHRO Mindset podcast.
Thank you so much, Pulkit. And I've had a fantastic time and I love the topic. And I'm somebody who likes to look at different topics and not the same topic that, we as it is have in the office. So this was a good topic because I think it just brought in what I had gone through, right? So it became easy to share.
Thank you. Thank you once again. To all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the CHRO Mindset Podcast. Like I said, if you want to become a PNL-led CHRO, this is the conversation, this is the podcast episode that you should listen not once, twice, thrice, or maybe more than that, and make your notes and make sure that you learn from folks like Aparna out there who have done it all, and who know the inside out of what it takes to become a PNL-led CHRO. For further more insightful episodes, don't forget to subscribe, share, and my request: please do leave us a review. It's or a 4 or a 5 or a 3, whatever you think of this podcast. Absolutely fine, but every feedback matters. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Until we meet next HR stalwart in the next episode, take good care of yourself, and we'll see you again. Thank you so much.